Men, women, all win gold in overtime. Tonight on Sports Talk with Steve and Justin. Hello, Justin.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
How's everything?
Oh, everything's great. I'm just about all shoveled out.
This is the Blizzard extraordinaire. We all have our USA in honor of our unbelievable gold medal winning group, the many thing. The women's hockey, I kept saying the whole time I'm watching the hockey, I'm with a whole group of people. And I kept saying, how come the Rangers can't do that? How come the Rangers do that? And if you saw the overtime win shot, which I don't know if you saw the women, the overtime winning shot, it was like bam, bam, pass, thing, took it on, perfect. It was like, come on, man. Why
Yeah,
can't the Rangers do that?
well, that's a whole nother story, but credit to the women and their fight because I thought from the beginning uh, they looked like they were more than ready to play. They came out and in the first, I think, 7 minutes, they looked exhausted. They looked like they had shot their load. And I texted Mike, they looked tired. And I think that they had, nerves and butterflies and all the emotion and pressure on them because they do have a good squad. And I think they expected to win because they did have a fairly good tournament. And, that emotion catches up with you and you come out firing all cylinders and all of a
Sure
sudden
does.
you got nothing left in the tank and you're not even, halfway through the first period. And they fought hard and, they had an incredible victory, right up until the end. They pushed to overtime and uh, all credit in the world because they really fought hard. I thought the whole team played. I watched that game live. I did not see the men's game live because I was still sleeping. I was
Well,
sleeping it off Sunday morning.
the men's were the same thing. I mean, they won in overtime. Bam, bam, pass, hit, boom. It was great. I mean, they were just on the money.
Yeah, I did catch the replay, and they looked like they were standard operating procedure, just fighting back and forth the whole game, and they left nothing in the tank. And even on that goal, you know, Canada comes down essentially with their best player. He takes his best shot, and this is after Kelly Buck made that incredible save. I mean, that was
Yeah.
just that
And
was
that and
that's
that
like
should be
video game save.
that should be as you mentioned. I thought Canada men's and women and New York and United States men's and women goalies just played incredibly.
Yeah, they did. They
I mean,
deserve
some of
to be
those
mentioned and
saves, I was
credit.
like, get out of here.
Yeah, you're looking at it like, man, how did he make you? Because you're looking at like it looks like it's a wide open goal, and they can't miss, and the goalies are standing on their heads. I mean, you get some incredible hockey in the Olympics, and I know there was a problem with the ice. The ice is typically bigger. Olympic ice is typically longer and a little wider than NHL ice. That just makes for better play, in my opinion. I love watching Olympic hockey. I think the game just has a better flow to it. But you could tell that, or they had mentioned that the dimensions were not uh, normal for Olympic hockey. I think it was
Right.
shortened, um, so it was kind of an odd uh, shaped ice, if you will, for lack
Yeah,
of a
but it
better
wasn't
term.
us.
But
It was the Italians that did it. So
yeah,
they can't blame us.
yeah,
We didn't cook the books. We would have if we had an opportunity, but we didn't. So
yep.
so overall, men, women, Norway 18 gold, 12 silver, 11 bronze for 41 medals. Nice job. United States comes in second in Winter Olympics. Come on.
That's
12
incredible.
gold, 12 silver, 9 bronze for 33.
Yeah, incredible showcase for American athletes.
I don't know who's doing the math here. What is it, 6, 2 and 6, 9 and 2. 62 is 8. Oh, I guess it's right. I'm
33 medals
I'm
overall
checking
for
the
the United
televisions.
States.
I'm checking, 33 medals overall. Netherlands came in third with 20. Italy came in fourth with 30, but most of theirs were bronze. 10 gold, 14 bronze. So they had a lot of bronze. Germany
Good
with
for them. They
26.
were the hosts. I'm glad they
Yep.
finished in the medal count like that.
Yeah. And Belgium had 1 bronze. Bulgaria 2 bronze. Georgia 1 silver. Estonia 1 silver. Denmark 1. Latava. Latvia had 2 medals.
Latvia.
Finland 6. New one of those. New Zealand 3. Kazakhstan had a gold. I wonder what it was in. Let's look. Kazakhstan figure skating.
Kazakhstan finished in the gold.
Kazakhstan
For figure skating?
Figure skating. Figure skating. Men's singles. I gotta see this.
Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, he came out in a little outfit. Came out in a panda suit. Wow. That's quite impressive.
NBC did a really good job covering all the sports, considering that they were hours ahead of us. So bringing those sports here live was a little tough because of the timing, but I thought they did a really good job. You know, the Super Bowl kind of led into that because NBC hosted the Super Bowl, and I know Tirico got on a plane right after the Super Bowl ended to go out there because he was basically the host for NBC for the Olympics. But their coverage was pretty incredible between the streaming and the Olympic Channel, or Peacock, I guess, was where you could get most of it. And some of the sports, they have a good way of making the lesser sports look good. I mean, they made the curling interesting. They have all these incredible graphics that they use. People that were coming to the bar were interested in watching more so than I've noticed in years past. Although I think the Winter Olympics does get more viewership from a bar standpoint than the Summer Olympics, unless it's basketball, which I know they were mentioning having basketball in the winter instead of summer, which I think makes way more sense, but that's just my opinion. Hockey's just so incredible. Absolutely incredible. Maybe they make the court bigger, like they do with the ice. Maybe they make the basketball court bigger, make it a little tougher on these guys.
Maybe they put a target on the back, or maybe they, make it a little tougher.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's not. If I start talking about basketball, I'm going to start losing my mind again. So.
Well, I think basketball is in the summer because they didn't want to pull the college kids from the tournament. They're at least their conference tournaments. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base, but I do, think it was more watchable from my standpoint when it was not professionals playing in the Olympics. I like being the underdog. I like seeing the talent being showcased to see what they have and see if they're coachable. And there's something to be said for that when they're not professionals out there.
So they stop the hockey season so they can go play the Olympics.
Yep.
Why can't they start up the basketball games to go play the basketball?
Yeah, in hockey, I think it's
and then this way, they could take all that crap about resting and shove it up, where
exactly,
and they could take a break if they need this break so bad, they don't have to play in the Olympics.
I think there's more pride from countries not the United States when it comes to international play and from the athletes. I think that might play a part in it. But money talks, as they say.
I don't know. I don't know what it does anymore. I think I really don't. I mean, these guys are getting more money than God already. What do they want more? You want more than $50 million a year to play basketball?
I mean, how much is enough to feed your family?
I mean, what are they eating? And they,
some of these guys don't
come
eat.
on, listen. Football's one thing. Football, you risk your life every time you go out there. And if anybody thinks you don't, then they don't know anything about football.
Agreed.
Football, I mean, you never know when you're going to do something. Basketball, yes. Can you have a career-ending injury? Absolutely.
Well,
But football, you can have a life-changing injury.
yeah. Let me see a basketball player take a stick to the teeth and lose his two front teeth and stay in the game and score the winning basket the way Team USA.
So I'm guessing everybody
Jack.
saw the picture of him with the flag around him with blood dripping out of his mouth and teeth hanging out. And you know what? Nothing made him happier.
That was incredible. Jack Hughes, I mean, he took one right to the chops. Did he even come off? I think he went off the ice just to get a new stick or something. He comes back out, bloody, missing teeth. Anthony Davis gets a pinky fracture, and he's crying and he's out for the season.
You know what they call that in hockey? Motivation.
It's just a different animal altogether, man.
Absolutely. Hockey players, I don't care who you are. It's like blood. It's like no matter what team you're playing for, it's unbelievable.
Although I think if I lost my two front teeth, I'd still find a way to eat. That's about it.
I remember when we were kids in high school. I hate to tell this story, and we had the kicker that could kick 45-yard field goals.
It's pretty impressive in high school.
Who used to get stoned in the woods during practice, and nobody said anything to him because he could kick 45-yard field goals. All right,
whatever
nobody
it takes.
Could. So you know what he did in track and field? He was the pole vaulter.
Oh wow!
Now, how many people could you talk into doing that, right? So one day, I'd like to say to the story that he was stoned, because I do believe he was, but I really don't remember for sure. So they're practicing pole vaulting. It was raining, so we're inside, and I don't want to give you any non-truth. I was not on the track and field team. All right, there was no ability in my man. When I was in football or wrestling or baseball, I was the slowest guy in the entire team. All right, and you could be sure that I prayed every day that I wasn't the last kid that I had to run extra laps. All right, there was one guy who was slower. One guy, and I had to really kill myself to make sure he was.
I know that feeling.
So we're practicing in track and field. I think I was there just sitting in the stands because they were inside, and I didn't want to go home or whatever. And he goes to pole vault, and he's stoned, and he knees himself in the mouth and knocks his two front teeth out. So it was the same thing. He was laughing. He has no front teeth. He's crazy. Anyway, sorry, I digressed. But on a somber note, talking about the effects of football on people, the NFL wide receiver Rondale Moore died over the weekend at the age of 25.
It's a sad story.
It's a sad story, and I don't know that much about it other than that police said Moore has died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was found dead in his garage in the property of his hometown in New Albany, Indiana. Police chief said that the death remains under investigation because, it just doesn't make sense that a 25-year-old either kills himself, especially with so much to live for, and he's a good player. The Vikings issued a statement that they spoken to the family in full support from the Vikings. Not that anybody believes that. And communication to a player and coaches, and you have to wonder, he had injured himself in 2024 where he dislocated his right knee and never ended up playing for the Atlanta Falcons when he played. So,
Yeah, and then he
you
got traded, right? And got
wonder,
hurt again.
right? And then you say to yourself, here are these players, they work their whole life to get to the NFL, and they make it to the NFL, and they have this bullshit injury that happens to them where they dislocate their knee or it happens. Now, in football, that happens every day. Every day, a team loses a player, right? Every time they play, there's some kind of thing that goes on.
Yeah.
And it really, I don't know what the NFL thinks. I mean, they introduce, there's a lot of rule changes coming, you know that? Another set of rule changes. I don't know if you read them. I glanced at them. I didn't really look for them, but I'll spend some time with them.
Yeah, I saved it for another time. Because I'm still not finished processing the last set of rule changes.
Or that we got threatened by the NFL that if we ever played that again, they were gonna, there was gonna be retribution.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We can't repeat things you say. Is that what it is? If you say something, this is the rule. We can't repeat you telling us what the rule is. I mean,
Right.
I'm still beyond that.
Somewhere in between, do as I say, not as I do, or something like that.
Isn't part of promotion to and you want to promote the league is that you want us talking about what you do and say? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really get it. Oh, let's mum.
Contradictory.
Could I have regurgitated what they said? Yes. But to me, it didn't make sense, so I didn't want to say it where it didn't make sense.
Let them
then you would think
explain
it was me.
Right.
Let them explain it. The kicking part, I still don't get. I know there's a strategy to it. We are not playing shuffleboard or curling or any of that other stuff. By the way, I don't know if you saw the video that was on Facebook and YouTube of Donald Trump doing curling. Did you see that?
I've seen so many. Was it for real or was it AI?
No, it was total AI.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. Yeah.
And it's the funniest thing because he messes it up. He makes a mistake, and so he gets the silver medal. And the woman from Venezuela, who's in charge of Venezuela now, gets the gold medal, and then he knocks her over and takes the medal and stands on the number one spot. And while he's standing on the spot, the crowd, which is all Snoop Dogg and his friends, are all screaming, "Trump, Trump!" It's hysterical. I mean, you couldn't make it up. I mean, it's almost true in a way. It's great. But anyway, am I going to have to edit that out because they're going to say I'm making a political comment or whatever?
Please. Regarding Rondell Moore, I'm sure, like the NFL always does, is they never let anything happen that they can't promote the brand in some way. So, and just like every other time something tragic happens, they have some sort of, statement and then knee-jerk reaction. And, for his sake and his family's sake, I hope that they're able to allow this to play out, to find out exactly what happened, so that there can be some sort of peace and they can move forward. The family can move forward, how they want to move forward to heal from this. As far as the players are concerned, I'm sure they're going to rally around one another. And,
right.
This has got to be an incredibly tough thing for not only guys in the NFL, but his college teammates and his friends. I've often wondered why the NFL, and I'm not blaming the NFL, but there's only so much you can do as a teammate and a friend to check on somebody, to see how they're doing. And, sometimes people fall through the cracks. I hate to say it. I don't mean it that way, but you lose track of people. You lose track of friends. Because life just kind of gets in the way. And with all the money that the NFL makes, with everything that they have at their fingertips, I hope that going forward they can find a way to, check in on these players, make sure that they're okay, even if it's, offering them counseling to some degree, which, maybe you can't make it mandatory. I don't want to say it should be mandatory, but, just checking in on them. it's not enough to be evaluated as a rookie and then sent off to some city you didn't grow up in and get paid all this money uh, to play this sport, um, and kind of be your under your own. I mean, I know that they're grown men, but uh, they need to be tended to. People need to check in with them. I don't know where that
So it looks
goes
like
to, but
he went to Purdue, and one of the coaches there is now the coach at Louisville. He's the head coach at Louisville, Jeff Brom, and he said he called him the ultimate competitor who wouldn't back down from a challenge. Now, he was drafted. Think about how young he was drafted. He's only 25 now. He played his first 3 years in Louisville. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought here for a minute. He played his first 3 years. Coaches, training camp. First 3 years in the NFL at Arizona, where he was a receiver and a return specialist. He was drafted at second round, and then in 24, what he got with the Falcons at the first at the first preseason game, he dislocated his knee.
yeah.
So that has to be devastating.
Yeah, I mean, this is what these guys do professionally, and that's how they make a living. And I know they get paid a lot of money to do it, regardless. But even still, it can crush you. And we're talking out of turn a little bit. I mean, we're assuming it's a mental health issue, but we don't know the facts yet, right? And I don't know what makes it easier when someone goes this way. But it could be something else, maybe pressure, outside pressure, family pressure, who knows? But there have been other instances where guys have been in trouble and don't necessarily see a way out. And I think the NFL, could do a better job maybe of, making themselves available in some degree to all of these players for whatever it is that they have going on. I know they have personal lives, and there's only so far you can go. I don't expect them to police everybody, but just be available in some way so that they can come to the team or come to the league and say, I have a problem, whether it's a mental health issue or a personal issue, whatever it is, because there is, in my opinion, enough money there for the NFL to help these guys, to see them through that and let them understand that you don't have to be on the field to be important. If what you have going on off the field is more important or is weighing on you for whatever reason, and coming to practice isn't just an outlet or an escape, it's heavier than that, then take a break. And they should be compensated, but taken care of so that they don't have to struggle.
I would guess he probably heard or assumed that the Vikings were going to release him because he was injured again.
Which unfortunately is the nature of the business, right? I mean, that part, if that's the issue, you can help a guy through that. You can walk a guy through that. It's not the end of the world. And they can prepare players for things like that. You hope, anyway. And maybe that falls on his agent. I don't know. I'm speculating, but you hate to see it. It's tragic. And I just hope that the NFL is willing to do something that's not just for show. They actually create a program that reaches out or is out there for these guys to access if they're in trouble.
I'm just looking at everybody's talking about draft this, draft that. Mendoza's going first. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know who has to pick. Whatever it is, they're taking Mendoza.
I can't imagine that he is going to have an issue unless he completely falls apart, whether he goes to the combine or not, or has a terrible pro day. He's the guy right now. And it's not to disparage any of these other players, but he's heads above the rest right now with all the intangibles. So unless you find out some weird thing like he's got very small hands or he scored a 3 on his Wonderlic test or whatever,
And then they have number 2 overall, Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame.
Love, I'm not going to disparage him because he's a running back. Running backs look at the pay scale in the NFL. They've made running backs almost obsolete. And then what did we see in the Super Bowl? A running back that was MVP. So maybe that changes things for running backs
But you
going
know what?
forward in the
You know
NFL.
what? It kind of reminds me of what's his name? Williams?
The running back
Yeah,
from where?
from Seattle.
Um, Walker.
Walker, and it was a
Walker the
W.
third. Yeah.
So, here's the breakdown on him. And keep in mind what you saw Walker do. Love his name. Love his dynamic weapon as a runner and a receiver. You get that from Walker too. On the inside, he runs high and narrow, but he explodes to and through the hole. That's what Walker did the entire time. He will drop a level lower on contact and has a lower leg drive to bounce off defenders. I mean, this sounds familiar, right?
Eyeball
Yeah.
tests. It's pretty
Yeah.
simple.
He doesn't always let things develop. That's the one thing that's different. The one thing about Walker, he let the world develop.
He can play
Until-
his own blocking scheme.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. But
Yeah,
they say
Jeremiah
but
Love's more of an old-fashioned type back where it's
he has
just,
elite speeds,
power back.
outruns to capture corners. He's rare ability to make defenders miss without gearing down. His spin move is electric. That's pretty interesting. I'd love to see that. I never saw him. I mean, I'm sure I saw him when I saw Notre Dame, but I don't remember it.
Well, that's a red flag. If you saw him and you don't remember it, he's not that memorable, is he? I'm not
Well,
knocking him,
I may
but I,
not have
I
been
will
paying
take the contrarian
I might
stance
not
here.
have been paying attention to
It's,
Notre Dame.
it's low-hanging fruit for me. He didn't win a Heisman Trophy. They lost 2 games. What else do you want me to say? They
They're
played
not-
a lower level of competition. They look good against bum teams. So, I'm not.
They're not-
I'm not
I
sold
agree with
on him
you.
as a running back going number 2 overall. That's not happening. But if a team wants to take him with their first pick, they better have everything else in place before they take a running back. That's all I'm going to say.
So to me, I would take, if I wasn't taking I don't care who I am, what team. The quarterback's gone, right? You're going to wait for the other one, but you're not drafting him in the beginning because the other quarterbacks aren't like Mendoza is. The next 3 are my guys, I would say. Everybody can use them. David Bailey from Texas Tech. He's an explosive edge runner. He was unbelievable. He eats ground. They say he eats ground in a hurry. He has a dip and rip move before flattening quickly as a passer. I mean,
Yeah,
come
the
on.
guy's a stud.
And then somebody we spoke about already, and that was Arvell
Arvell
Reese
Reese. Yeah.
from Ohio, and Sonny Styles, a linebacker from Ohio, senior. And then you have that guy, Reuben Bain Jr. from Miami. He's a great edge player, great rusher. And then you go back to Ohio State, Cardell Tate, wide receiver. I mean, they had such a good team, Ohio State. So many great players. And then you have Caleb Downs, that safety that they say is going to end up at the Giants. I don't know. But,
If you have the number 2 pick in this draft, number 3 pick in this draft, and you can get a premier defensive pass rusher, you take him. The drop
I
in
agree.
talent.
No matter who you pick, and I think this is what NFL teams do not do anymore. I shouldn't say that. The good NFL teams do it. The bad ones don't.
Well, it's like I
and
said,
they
they're forced to fill those skill positions because they don't have anybody.
But what they do is they draft these guys and then don't either allow them to develop, or they aren't willing to pay them the big bucks when their rookie contract runs out. And if you're not willing to do that, then you better draft somebody else.
Yeah, and they're looking at it from a business standpoint. If we draft this kid, is it going to make more money for us in 3 years than if we draft this other kid? Are we paying this kid if he's the real deal in 3 years, or is he not going to be with us because we can't afford it or we don't want it? And then on top of that, they don't really develop these players, and there's sometimes a lot of square pegs and round holes. So, because the Jets have the number 2 pick and because they need so much help, you could make the argument that trading the pick is the way to go because they need so much more, and there might be a more talented draft next year. But if the kid from Texas Tech or Orville Reese have a tremendous combine or showcase their talent, and the videotape doesn't lie, okay? It's that simple. We talked about that with Coach Herman, and we talked about, or at least I talked about, the Jets and Vernon Golston. You better have somebody that can evaluate talent, because if you're picking that high, they better get it right. Because if you take somebody at that number 2 spot and they turn out to be a bust, which the Jets have done plenty of times before, it's just SOS. So, they got to get it right. Do I have faith that they can get it right? I'd say I'm 50-50. If they picked a kid from Texas Tech, I'd be leaning higher and say you made the right pick. You got the best football player available, and you move forward. But because one thing I will say about the Jets that works in their favor is their offensive line had a good year. I know that's hard to imagine, but they were healthy all year. They played every game. They didn't miss a snap, and that was without Elijah Vera Tucker, who they might lose him because I don't know that you can justify paying him at this point, and he didn't play, and they did very well without him. That's not a bad problem to have. But they have to replace what they lost on defense, and I know people are like, wait a minute, they don't have a quarterback. But you're not wasting talent by picking that number 2 defensive edge rusher and getting a quarterback later. That quarterback's going to be available, whoever it is, if you want to take a quarterback. Or it's one more year with another free agent, whoever that may be. And maybe they go out and get Jacoby Brissett or Malik from Green Bay, or one of these other guys that's available, Kirk Cousins. I know his name was floated out there. It's not a bad option. I know Jet fans don't want to hear that because they're still waiting for their quarterback. But again, square peg, round hole. You're not getting Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees in this draft. And I'm not trying to talk bad about any of these other kids coming out, but Mendoza's at the top, and then there's a level between him and everybody else. So, you got to do the right thing if you're at the top of this draft and not go crazy with a reach, because there is talent available. And if you don't think there's talent available, trade the pick. Fleece somebody. Get what you can get back.
If you really want an offensive tackle, and there's a good one, I think, from Miami, I forget his name. I mean, if you really want that, and that's what you think is the most important to you, trade down, get an extra pick, and go after the guy you really need. I mean,
oh man, yeah, I agree. I listen, that Miami offensive line, we saw that in the national championship game. They are huge. So
and don't
I
do
wouldn't have a problem
what you usually do is take the guy that should be draft 10th and draft him at 2 and end up paying him more money than you had to. So I don't know.
Again, I think teams would be protected from that if the draft were in a reverse order, but that's a whole nother. We could talk about that another time, for sure.
So, just to switch gears a little bit. I mean, we talk about football all the time because it's what we enjoy talking about it, and it goes on every day. It's not like it used to be in the off season. There was nothing, but
Matt texted me we'll do next week, so he's not coming on today.
Great. I think that's better anyway.
Okay.
So let's start talking about baseball.
Baseball's got a big problem.
Which
big
is
problem. This season is already a wash. It hasn't even gotten started yet. My friends are going down for spring training to see the Mets, and I couldn't get off from work to get down there. And I wasn't really interested in paying $130 for a ticket to a spring training game. And the excuse is, well, it's Mets Yankees. I'm like, I don't want to pay $130 for a regular season game, let alone spring training after getting on a plane. But I don't know how this is going to play out. This season is going to probably be who knows how it's going to play out. There's a lot of turnover, a lot of guys in different places. These contracts are out of control. And I'm always the first to say I don't begrudge a player his money. Get paid whatever you can get paid. But the way baseball has structured these contracts, they put themselves in this hole to create a work stoppage. They knew it was coming. They wanted to make it unbearable for the players, and they're prepared, according to Ed Randall and Buck Showalter, they are prepared to sit out for 2 years, Major League Baseball, which isn't. I mean, that's going to destroy the sport. Took them years to come back from the strike in '94 to get the attendance back to where it was before. Even that was even through the home run era and all that stuff.
I don't get any of that. I don't get that they want to sit out. I mean, if I was them, even if you think you're the richest man in the world at 14 billion or whatever the hell the Cohen has, I mean, you have 4 or 5 billion tied up in. I don't know what he paid for the Mets. Was it more than that? 6 billion. I forget what it was.
It was in the billions for sure,
Yeah,
single-digit billions, but he paid a lot. 2 point.
So you have that tied up in your team, and you're about to, have a huge investment in building a casino around there. You really want to let the team flounder?
I can't. What they did is egregious to me, and letting Pete Alonso walk, and then paying somebody else twice as much as you were going to pay Pete, and then using we don't want to pay Pete when he's 36 or 35 in year 6, 7, 8. Who cares? If you're trying to win now, win now. Worry about that later, because if you win, that all goes away. You're forgiven. And given the history of the Mets, Tom Seaver, top of the list, and how they are always, Darryl Strawberry, another one, right? Are you not aware of that? You have to stop the bleeding, right? You said we're coming in here, we're going to win a World Series in 5 years, and we're going to spend, and we're going to do all this stuff, and you have been contrary to that the whole time. And all these people talking, the new sheriff in town. It's like having, we're going to have George Steinbrenner and spend money now like the Yankees did, and they're going to see what it's like to be second-class citizens, and all that talk and all that nonsense and all this fodder that we had to listen to. What did they get out of it? And where are they going?
I don't know, but I'm reading that the under-over for Mets wins total projection is 110.
They're winning over-under is 110 games? Does that include the postseason? That's incredible. 110 wins. Based on what? What did they win last year?
They haven't cracked 90 wins since 2022. Let me just see.
I'm taking the under on that.
I can't see because
that's not an embarrassing under to take.
Right now,
they're not really going out on a win there.
Hold on.
110. That can't be right.
I'm reading SI.
By the way, Steve Cohen paid $2.4 billion for the Mets in 2020.
Okay. You looked it up, or somebody told you?
I looked it up.
Major League Baseball. I can't even believe it. I'm on DraftKings. I'm looking at it right now. Major League Baseball. Home run, hits, strikeouts, wins. Diamondbacks, Athletics, Braves, Baltimore, Cubs, White Sox, Reds. Maybe that's 90 and a half. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. 90 and a half, and it's win. Maybe it's 90 and a half. Hold on. That makes more sense. I'd still take the under. I don't think they're going to win 90 games. You think they're going to win 90 games?
I think they'll underperform. I mean, they lost their closer. They lost Pete Alonso. They lost the first base coach that essentially everybody said accounted for 20% of their offense with his stolen base theory. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I mean, unless they're pitchers are going to go out there and throw 9 inning shutouts.
I read it wrong. It's 90 and a half games.
I'll still take the under. I'm not very confident in
I
how
mean,
that's playing out.
do I think they could win 90 games? Yes. Do I think they could win 91? No. I really don't.
Yeah.
So I would take the under in a minute. So the the Yankees are the same, 90 and a half.
The entire division got better. How many wins did the Yankees have last year? It was in the 90s.
Well,
Had to be.
back to the Mets for a minute. You're dealing with, you know, you got the Phillies and the Braves in the East, right?
They're not going away.
They're not going away.
And the Marlins always seemingly play tough. At least, you know, they don't quit, the Marlins. I mean, I know they're not a very good franchise historically.
What do you think? Let's go through this. Athletics under and over is 75.
Oh,
Braves under and over 88 and a half.
the Braves?
Yep.
I mean, they're incredibly talented. I know they had a, you know, tough
I think I
season
would
last
take
year
the
for
over
whatever
in that.
reason. I would consider it for sure.
Cubs, White Sox, Reds, Guardians, whatever team that is. Tigers.
What's Pittsburgh? I'm interested to know what Pittsburgh is.
It's funny. I was just Los Angeles. Los Angeles regular season. No. Oh no, it's the Angels. You think I should learn to read by this point in my
The
life?
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah. Dodgers 102 and a half. Under over.
102 and a half. I mean, they're loaded.
I would take the over.
They are loaded. 102 and a half. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, how many games did the Padres
If
win this
everybody
year?
else
They
is
getting
not
better?
going to make what they're up, if everybody else is going to be the under, you got to figure the Dodgers are going to be the over, right?
The 102 and a half is going to come down to whether or not Edwin Diaz is Edwin Diaz. And to quote our favorite New York sports franchise, New York sports radio host, if Edwin Diaz is Edwin Diaz, he's Alexander the Great.
Who said that?
Francesa. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
So
you know, Edwin Diaz. A lot of people. It's funny. He came to the Mets. He's supposed to be this lights out closer, and I just, you know, Mets fans were never happy with him. At least not the first year. He got better. He was the premier closer in baseball. I tend to think that guys that can do that continue to do that. And I think being in Los Angeles with that team takes even less, you know, there's less pressure on him, right? Because they're so loaded. He might not have to pitch but one inning, you know? They're going to score runs. Unless he has a complete breakdown, I would say that even though it's 100, 102 is a lot of wins compared to the rest of the division, yeah, I would consider 102 and taking the over for sure.
it's 102 and a half, by the way.
It's a lot. That's a lot of wins. What did they have last year?
A lot. I don't know what they had last year. Let me look it up.
I mean, obviously they must have been in the 90 win range.
I think they had more than that. NFL, here it is.
Looking for the NL West.
I have it right here. Dodgers 93.
They had 93 wins last year, and they're predicted for 102 this year.
That's because everybody else got worse.
Did the Padres get incredibly worse?
Well, let's see what the Padres.
I would rethink that. I would consider the under at this point. But that's because Otani's healthy. He's pitching this year, and they got Edwin Diaz. So
Right.
but still, another 10 wins is a lot. That's a lot, man.
So we have some new visitors, first-time watchers tonight. Hello, Alex. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the show.
What the heck was I looking up again?
Padres wins.
Padres. What the thing was? Yep. Where is that?
They had 9 wins last year.
How many is it this year? What happened
God,
to
the Giants had 81 wins. Diamondbacks were 2 games under 500. The Colorado Rockies won 43 games last year. That's incredibly bad.
Yep. Look how much money they made and how much. Can you find that? Look how much money they made and how much they got from the league. I bet it was tens of millions of dollars they put in their pocket. What was
It's
that?
just such a bad format. It's just such a bad format. I would imagine that you might see. I mean, I know this goes against what
I'm
we talk
looking at
about.
Padres, right? What they're predicting?
Well, they had 90 wins last year. If the Dodgers are at 102 and a half, then the Padres got to be at 80 something, 85, 86.
Wow, Nationals are at 65 under Roper. What the heck are the Padres? Reds, Sox, Cubs, Sox again, Orioles, Braves.
I can't help but wonder if baseball is going to contract for a couple of teams. I thought about that the other night. That if this is about money, it's how could you sustain where you're at? The product is already bad in most, some instances anyway. But there's bad players on every team.
I think it's more likely they let them move rather than contract. Padres, under or over 95, 85 and a half.
Speaking of moving, how about the Bears?
Oh, come on. How do you move the Bears? Soldier Field?
How do you let that happen?
Why don't you move Green Bay to Wisconsin or move Green Bay to North Dakota?
North Dakota, right. What are we doing here? This is unbelievable. I understand I'm a dinosaur and a traditionalist and all that, but things change in the grand scheme of things. Football's only been around for 100 years, so it's a blip on the radar. But I just, I don't understand how people aren't looking at this and seeing it for what it is and why this is happening. And I won't get political, but that plays a part. It's a crime. It's a crime that a major city in this country is losing a major sports franchise in the country's most popular sport.
Here it is. Last week, the governor, and I can't pronounce his name to save his life, like Pritzker, Pritzker, sent state representatives to meet with the Bears, and the goal was simple: to continue to negotiate a term of public financing and tax that would make the Bears feel comfortable enough to invest $2 billion into a brand new indoor stadium in Arlington Heights. The meeting lasted 3 hours and mostly agreed on the bill. Less than 24 hours after the meeting, Indiana lawmakers unanimously approved an amendment 24-0. It's probably the last time they've ever agreed 100% on something that would clear the way to Bears to build a new stadium across state lines in Harmon, Indiana. So
this is incredible.
So they go and make a deal for Arlington
This is a
Heights.
big deal, in my opinion. I mean, I know that
and then 24 hours after that, they say the governor was blindsided. The Bears had discussed exploring stadium options in Indiana, but everyone left the prior day's meeting believing they were going to finalize the term sheet over the next few days for the Bears to release a statement that they're committed to seeing an Indiana Day's deal go through.
I don't believe for 1 second that the governor was blindsided. That I don't believe. Whether or not they had a deal, I'm willing to believe that, but we live in a state where both our football team, well, 2 of our 3 football teams play in another state, and we're still, we still call them the New York Jets and Giants, even though they play in a swamp in Jersey.
Right.
But this is the tri-state area. So if you're from this area, you kind of get it. You understand it. It does make sense. Maybe because we grew up that way, or after the fact, we're just conditioned to think that way. But it's a lesser deal for them to play there than it is for the Bears to leave Chicago. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it.
Well, the Giants and Jets left New York.
Yeah, I agree. And they did need a place to play. And I know politics plays a heavy role here, and the money and everything else.
In
But
the Meadowlands is a dump.
it's a dump. It is the Cleveland Stadium that I sent you the tweet about the building of that new stadium, and this Chicago Stadium, which looks like it's going to be every bit as good as that one if they build it. It puts even things that came before the new Meadowlands, like Gillette Stadium. That's a decent stadium, and if you look at the way they retrofit Wrigley Field and the way they retrofit Fenway Park to keep those stadiums in those cities and not have to tear them down and build new parks or move somewhere else, why can't they do that here? Why can't they do? Didn't they just refurbish
here's the other
Soldier
argument.
Field?
Some people say it's not a big deal. The San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco, which true. Right? The Dallas Cowboys don't play in Dallas anymore. The New York Giants and Jets don't play in New York anymore. And if we want to talk distance, the Bears Stadium that would be in Hammond, Indiana, would actually be closer to the Soldier Field.
The Hammond Bears sounds like a minor league baseball team.
Than in Arlington Heights. Well, you could say, you could say the Karlstad Giants.
If you told me that the surrounding area in Chicago, where Soldier Field is, that the stadium was an eyesore, the stadium was preventing jobs, or was not, or in some way it was detrimental to the local neighborhoods or whatever, then I would be willing to say, okay, if it's that much of a problem, then they need to move. I get it. But let's be honest. All these teams that moved out of those cities, they didn't change the name of the city. They kept the name of the city. So it's like Poltergeist. They moved the headstones, but they didn't move the bodies. Well, they're only doing that because they're making money off Dallas.
Look how that ended up.
Yeah, right. They're making money off San Francisco, which is if anybody's gonna move, I know why they moved out of San Francisco, but they kept the name because why? Santa Clara doesn't sell. Arlington doesn't sell. They need the name. So, say whatever you want. They can play anywhere, just like, the Jets and Giants play in the Meadowlands.
The question,
look at Belmont, right? They just built this new arena out there. They said it couldn't be done. The Jets can't play there. They did it, even though they're not going there. Money talks, like I said before, and BS walks, and there's just it's always about money, and it's not ever about upholding tradition. It's just about how can we make more money. How much more money do they need to make?
Is that a real question?
Well, as long as fans keep going to the games, they're going to do whatever they want. Until fans get smart enough not to pay PSLs and collectively and not go to these games, which might happen to baseball because it took them all those years to recover the first time. If you stay out for 2 years, good luck coming back.
It's just more. That's all you want, right? You all want more.
Everybody wants more.
And that's the way it works. So, I don't know what fans think. Fans may be looking forward to a new stadium, but in New York, when you got thrilled, you were getting a new stadium. The stadium was a dump, and my friend, it was $30,000 PSL a seat, and he had 4 seats.
It's just
he was like, huh?
Violates my being. Especially the Jets. Who are they to charge a PSL? And people paid it. People paid to go watch that disaster.
And I didn't understand PSL. I really just don't understand PSL.
It's such a slap in the face.
We have two. First of all, Back then the NFL was giving you $500,000. We're talking about the NFL again. They were getting. We'll talk about baseball next week. I don't know what to say.
Sorry.
Sorry. So whatever it is, the team's all.
Next week we won't talk about football at all. How about that?
Yeah, we'll be talking about the combine. So
Yeah.
I don't know when the combine is, but it can't be that far away.
Dom said professional sports is a business, not a game. Everything is business. I get it.
Words of wisdom. I don't know what to say. Ask Dom. Dom, text him what you think. You like the camera here better? It got dark, so I don't have the light from outside anymore. But I
will
have
say
million lights. Anyway, I don't know what to say. I mean, so when New York teams, whoever they are, Giants and Jets built a stadium. The NFL was giving $500 million to anybody that built a stadium. The stadiums cost $1 billion. So you had to get $500 million. They were giving you $500 million, right?
Yep.
So they had two teams. So they wanted $1 billion. I don't think they got it. I think they got some of it, but not all of it.
Let me ask you this. How much do you think the gambling plays a part in all of this and the decision making? Not that they influence it, but it's got to play a role to some degree. It has to. If baseball goes on strike for 2 years, that hurts the gambling entities.
This is, oh, yeah, it does. So this is
in a big way.
They'll just bet on something else.
But the gambling, they're in bed together, right?
So,
like, they can't possibly want this.
I would have to agree with you. I don't know what they're going to do. But let's just wait a minute. But can't go back and forth here. You drive me crazy. So
Dom said you look good, clear, and I look fuzzy. That's because I didn't shave, Dom.
Yeah, but when we redo it, when I tell Dom when I edit it, I'll have your good feed. It's the live feed that's always fuzzy for you, because just so everybody knows, my software that I use, it downloads to the cloud or uploads to the cloud, and does an individual one of whoever on my computer and his computer, and then uploads them to the cloud, and then all those are compared, and then the computer, if I use AI to look at it, picks the best part and mixes it all together. And I do nothing. But then I go through it word by word by word and edit it. So, which is my favorite thing to do after doing this for an hour and a half. Anyway. People build stadiums today because they want the flash. They want the flash because they want to get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they want to host. They want to host because they can't win one.
But how much is a Super Bowl worth? How much is an NFL? So think about it.
It's got to be worth close to $1 billion.
What do they play? They 17 games now, or 16, 17, right? Or are we at 18
not just
yet?
about football, though, right? Because these stadiums are built for...
Eshbeth, 1 minute at a time. So back to what I said. Is it 18 games or 17 games now?
17.
All right, he's guessing. Can't you tell
17.
when he guesses? So 17 games. So you have 8 home games. Sometimes 9. Right?
Plus the preseason games.
Plus the 1 preseason game. They don't do 2 anymore, do they?
I think they play 3 instead of 4 now. Or is it 2?
I thought 2. So think about how much revenue that is. See how many days. The whole year. I don't know how people get the taxpayers to agree. Out of the whole year, we're going to give you $500.
Well, they don't have to. They get the people in charge are the ones that make the deal.
We're going to give you $500 million, and you're going to give us 8 home games a year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's worth it.
Yeah, we're going to give you
I mean, that's really
nothing
what it
for
is.
something.
So, I got the, so that's part of it. But they also rent it and thing, and the concessions are worth money, and the parking. I mean, where else can you spend $75 on parking? And you know, you don't even pay that. Well, I shouldn't say that. You do. In the city at the plazas, probably $100 the first hour. But it doesn't. You know, it doesn't really end. It just keeps. So far, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and the price go up and up and up.
Yep.
And to me, if you really want to know what I think the holy grail is of professional sports, I think it's kind of a rollerball scenario. I think they should create virtual, you know, the Apple makes this killer virtual headset, and basketball, they could do it with no problem. They should have those virtual cameras where the game is surrounding you virtually, and you're able to log on and pay for a season of games that you could watch like you're sitting on the sideline. And those things should be available like that. I think basketball more than anything else. Yes, can you watch it on television? Yes. Is it free for now? Yes. But I really believe that that's where we're headed. And so do you need that fancy stadium for all that? I don't know. But I mean, why would you build in New York? Why would you spend $1 billion on that stadium? Why would you build a stadium that's like, you know,
It's a concrete coffin. It's just
a
it's a terrible.
concrete place that you just go buy hot dogs and hamburgers like every other dump you used to have? Why would you build a place like that without a roof on it? Think about how much money you would have made doing concerts if you had a roof.
It's incredible. I mean, it's
incredible.
really incredible what they got away with. Somebody will do an E60 or a 30 for 30 on the Meadowlands, and we'll understand one day exactly where the money went. But it's no different than probably the courthouse or White Plains.
Well, the courthouse in White Plains was the mob. I did an investigation for that, but that's another story.
I mean, that was supposed to be a 7-story building.
Yeah, I was on the anti-corruption committee that investigated some of those things, but I don't know, but that's not the only thing. You know, there are so many problems in professional sports, and the reason we talk about the NFL because the NFL is easy to say, but these are the problems in all professional sports right now. I mean, basketball is a little different because their problems. First of all, the commissioner's horrible. No offense, but you're horrible. He has no control of the players anymore. You know, whatever you want to say about David Stern.
I think they want it that way. It's hard to believe now.
I think they just want the players to rule everything until it crumbles. I mean, and you know what? I think a lot of this comes back on King James. I think he's taken advantage of everything since it started that disaster of, and not, this has nothing to do with his ability. It has to do how he looks at playing basketball, that he is better than anyone else, and he has no respect for the game, to the point is that, you know, he mandates his son is there, you know, and now he has another son that's going to come out, and supposedly this one's a lot better than the one he has. But anyway, I mean, when does it all end with these players and controlling things? I mean, the NBA is a whole different animal. How it works. They really.
I don't know that there's
everything.
an end to it. I just don't think anybody has any integrity anymore, and there aren't people with the business acumen of Wellington Mara or the integrity of Wellington Mara left in professional sports. He's not the only one, but he's at the top of my mind. And for it to have gone on as long as it has, and for the different sports not to look at one another and accept what the models are. Not that every season is different, right? You have 16 games, 17 games in the football season. You have 162 games in baseball. What do you have? 90 plus games in basketball, whatever it is, 100 games, whatever.
48 home games, I think it is.
Yeah. So, but the models should be fairly consistent, you would think, because they all play in the same cities. So, for the most part, but I'm not sure that there's an end to it. I don't know that they want an end to it. If the owners of baseball have stated, not publicly, but behind closed doors, or at least, to the professional sports writers and sports prognosticators, that they're willing to sit out for 2 years, they wouldn't put that information out there if A, they weren't prepared for it, or B, they knew that they had major leverage on the back end, because they've already had a model to look at from their own league. They quit in August of '94, and it took until the mid 2000s for baseball attendance to come back to where it was before that. And money and ticket prices might have something to do with that as well. And I'm sure that they made up for that in other areas. And maybe that's, obviously they made money off the gambling and these PSLs and every other thing they've contrived to just suck the money out of the people that are willing to go to these games. But it's funny. I remember as a kid listening to people talk about athletes' contracts and how that these athletes got paid too much money and they ruined the game and free agency this, and that's probably what I sound like now, the way I talk about it. But I don't see how someone can pay a PSL, pay $2,000 for a ticket to sit in the front row, and then complain about the player making 40-something million dollars a year. Well, he's the best guy, and that's why you paid for that, because you want the best talent here. Why do you begrudge the guy his money? He's got to get what he's worth to play here, unless you're overpaying for some stunad. That's a different story. But I just remember being at opening day, the judge was in the middle of his contract dispute or negotiation. They hadn't reached the deal yet, and he had one more year left, and they were clamoring in our section. We had front row tickets from a friend of mine. That they were yelling at him, take the money, you SOB this, and how dare you that? And I'm looking at these guys like, you're watching an all-time great. If Mickey Mantle walked out of center field right now, you'd be on your knees to have him on this team. Give me a break.
I have to say, I don't begrudge the players the money. We know the owners are making it, or else they wouldn't pay it. It's that simple. If there's going to be a big strike, it's because they're going to try to just get it under control and make more money. They want to grab a larger percentage of what's going. They don't want this going to the players. Or they realize that the players' agents have gotten smart enough how to circumvent the rules as they are right now. So that's the player with baseball. Football, like I said, they wouldn't get it. Revenue sharing in football, so it's a whole different. They're all making money hand over fist. My big thing, is about a lot of different things, and certainly this load management that goes on in basketball and that thing. It's a very simple fix to me. That if you think the players, for whatever reason, cannot keep up, then you have to organize your schedule with a break. You can't have players missing games. It's that simple. You make built-in breaks into healthy players need to play, because it's like we don't give a shit about the fans, and that can't be. You can't save for a month to take your kid to a basketball game, and when you get there, all the stars are sitting down.
The season is too long to begin with, in my opinion. But I know
they
don't want to hear that.
That's a whole nother story. You need the games to make money.
Yeah.
So that's part of what it is.
Less than the games raise the prices. They're going to pay. I mean, people pay to go see basketball games. Ridiculous.
People pay because there's only so many limited, because the stadiums aren't as big, right?
Yeah.
So and the funniest thing is, they consistently start building smaller baseball stadiums. and now they've screwed themselves. They've screwed themselves. I mean, look at what they're building in. Look what happened with the Oakland Athletics. Or moved to Las Vegas. They went to like a bandbox at Grover Cleveland High School, and and you know they're playing in some, and it was like, oh, we don't care. It was like, it reminded me of you know what I say. These owners all like the emperor's new clothes. They don't wear. I don't care. We'll do it. Let's do this. We're going to do that, and then we're going to go to Las Vegas in 2 years. Oh, yeah, but our stadium's only going to hold 15, 16, 17,000 people instead of the 40 we had where we were. And then you're going to say, well, we're not making as much money. We have these smaller stadiums. Because why? Because we built these bigger luxury boxes that we're going to sell. And you know what the reality is? No one has any idea if baseball's going to work in Las Vegas. Nobody has any. And so then it's going to become this. Oh, well, no one's coming to the games? We need to get these really big stars and pay them loads of money.
They moved them there before they knew they were going on strike. I mean, they knew it was coming, and they moved a whole franchise into a new city knowing they were going on strike. That just defies logic. I don't get that. I don't get that. I can understand from the other side of it where the owner was like, we're going on strike. I'm leaving. I'm not staying here. I want a new stadium. Right. That I get. But coming out of this,
the state of the game. The state of the game, all professional sports.
Yeah.
And we're going to say the same thing we say every week, except hockey. Isn't it strange that we don't have these issues in hockey? Why? Because the players care. So is that what we need to do? Make the players care?
They have rivalry.
But you know what else? You know what else we have? We have general managers in football in hockey. Guess what they did? They played hockey.
They played hockey. For the Rangers, it doesn't work in their favor.
Well, and every other team but the Rangers.
There's always an exception.
They all play. You don't have executives in hockey that haven't played the game. Why? Because hockey's a complex game, and nobody, reality is, nobody really understands how it's played, except the people that play it. All right? And none of them have teeth. I don't know why, none of them have teeth. And they wear mouth guards and helmets and masks. And you said to yourself, well, maybe they'll keep their teeth because they used to not even wear anything. Not even a goalie used to play without a face mask.
That's incredible to me.
And they still lose their teeth with the face masks and guards. So it's a crazy sport, and I love it so. It's competitive. It has heart. And it is the last dying place where you could see heart and fight in professional sports, unless you go to something amateurish. I mean, you don't even have it in football. You don't have basketball because of the NIL. You're going to have players. So why should I go to the NFL? I can stay here at college, take a couple classes, date a cheerleader, and get paid $1 million a year. I mean, who's better than me?
I wonder if NIL is the way of the future for some of these pro sports teams. Maybe that's a compromise or something. I don't know. Because you know how it is.
Explain to me what you mean.
You know how, like, if you're let's say you're Michael Jordan, you have a contract with Nike, right? But the team has a contract with Adidas. You're not allowed to show your Nike gear. They have to tape over it and write the Adidas label. Maybe that stops. Maybe they allow. Maybe it's already stopped, and I just don't know. But you remember, anybody football, same thing. If the team or the league had a contract with Nike, but the player had a deal with Adidas, they had to tape a shoe and scribble the logo off, and write the whatever team contract has or the league contract.
Except for one person, Michael Jordan. He did whatever he wanted.
Right.
But he always did. Yeah. So
I'm assuming that's how it works in college, where if you have NIL money, it's coming from an entity that you're promoting to a degree.
yeah, unless you're an alumni just paying them money.
But
Which
NIL is name, image, likeness, which I presume it means you're selling that. You're getting compensated for your NIL.
I would guess. I know that like women's basketball players and more than that, women's volleyball players and hockey girls, field hockey or whatever it is. I mean, you see these volleyball players. That pair down in Texas somewhere. They're like twins. They're like drop dead gorgeous. They make a
Miami basketball, yeah.
They've been making millions of dollars forever.
And good for them.
And they do commercials. They do all kinds of things. So I was just looking up something, but I forgot what it was. It's all right. Wasn't that important, I guess. So we meandered and complained how the world is hell of professional sports, but there's enough to talk about that we could talk every week for at least an hour and a half.
Works for me.
I think since we're really not going to talk about anything else, we kind of got to leave it there, I think. So
fair enough.
All right, everybody. Everything I said we were going to talk about, we didn't talk about, but we did talk about the NFL again. So we appreciate everybody watching. Next week, we're going to have, who's going to be on?
We'll have Matt Bernstein on to talk about, we'll give us some insight on the combine.
Great. And we'll be looking for the NFL.
And maybe Coach Herman, too. We'll see how that works out.
Well, let's save Coach for the next thing because we're going to talk about some baseball because baseball's going to be starting. Pitchers and catchers show up February 28th or whatever they do. Yeah. And we're going to be moving into the baseball realm since we love basketball so much. And, we're coming on to March Madness. So some of that's going to start coming our way too. And we're looking forward to talking about it. Actually, Justin, I discussed it with you. I think you and I should both do a sheet that we can talk about how bad we were week after week.
Fair warning. I've been pretty good with those in the past.
So have I. So have I, strangely enough. You know what I mean? I used to go there. People used to think I was a mark because I didn't follow it that much, but I could synthesize information pretty quickly.
Although it was easier 20 years ago. Now it's a little tougher with these mid-majors.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please like and subscribe. We want to get as many subscribers. It's been going up exponentially. We've had, routinely lots of views, and we appreciate it. But this is a growing channel. The more people we bring, the more easier. The more easier we may learn English, the easier it'll be for us to bring on our guests. And we appreciate your support and everyone that's given us comments, and especially when you tell us we're wrong, because we usually are. All right. Justin, always a pleasure.
Always. Thank you for having me.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, brother.
That should be fun.
Of course it will. Oh, wait, I got to play the little media thing. Here we go.